Now we have a Fox 5 investigation for you. Have you ever gotten a parking ticket that you thought you didn't deserve, or even worse, you got the boot? That is exactly what is happening to drivers in Hoboken, New Jersey.
Well, a Fox 5 investigation reveals how the city could be writing millions of dollars a year in questionable parking tickets.
Our investigative reporter Joel Waldman is here with this report. Hi, Joel.
Ernie and Derry, Hoboken is known for its terrible parking crunch, but now many drivers are saying the city is getting a reputation for something else altogether: unfairly ticketing and booting drivers.
It's just the parking is horrendous.
If you've ever been to Hoboken, you know how tough it can be to find a parking spot on city streets.
It's a parking merry-go-round where you see the same car going around and around.
With over 50,000 residents crammed into an area smaller than 1.5 square miles, parking in Hoboken is at a premium. With most parking spaces zoned for residents, visitors to Hoboken may have the hardest time finding street parking.
I don't like coming down here from Rhode Island to visit any of my friends in Hoboken because of this beautiful parking situation. It's a mess.
A mess that even the city's own parking enforcement officers can only laugh about.
Everybody, it's terrible for parking. It's a known fact.
We didn't think it was the first day I would get a boot on my truck.
These new Hoboken residents say they were booted for a 4-hour violation after parking their car for less than 1 hour throughout the course of the day.
I would think it's 4 hours in one spot.
Laura and Diana Mon say they parked their Jeep for 20 minutes in a spot that said 4-hour limit. During those 20 minutes, the city van, wired with cameras, scanned their plates and logged the time. They had no idea. They left town for most of the day, returned to Hoboken, parked in a different spot for just a half hour, but still got the boot.
I pulled in the spot at 4:30, and the ticket was given to me at 4:59.
What Laura and Diane didn't know, and city signs don't say, is the 4-hour limit is citywide, and the clock starts ticking as soon as you park. A Hoboken parking utility worker confirmed it to us.
4 hours, you have to leave town. You park 4 hours, that's all you get.
For the sisters, the signs were anything but clear. The cost for a first offense, just over $200. Their ticket plus the boot fee. And speaking of signs, it's not just the 4-hour ones that people here on Bloomfield Street are griping about. Check out this sign. It says no parking Monday, 11 a.m. to noon. But someone who lives on this street gave us a copy of a ticket. It says he was cited at 10:50 a.m., 10 minutes before he was supposed to be.
It's difficult to park around here as it is.
Around the corner on First Street, it was Glenn Road who got a $30 ticket. This time because of a different sign: 2-hour parking from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m.
As I look at the sign that I'm parked in front of, it doesn't state pay at meter or anything like that.
Can't blame Glenn for being confused. There were no pay parking signs anywhere near where he parked. The Muni meter machine and the pay sign were nearly a block away.
The closest meter sign, as you can see, is much further down the road. And it's behind trees, it's behind a sign.
Many frustrated drivers say they have complained to the city to no avail. Many have taken to posting their parking woes on a local watchdog website, Hoboken 411.
The booting has picked up significantly over the last 6 or 12 months. Walk half a mile, you'll see dozens of boots on cars.
Perry Clausen, the site's founder, says in the last year he's received hundreds of complaints about confusing parking signs and overly strict enforcement.
The parking authority is a revenue machine for Hoboken. It's not improving the quality of life. It's not making parking easier.
It didn't take long for us to see parking officers booting cars. That's when we caught up to them with our undercover cameras rolling to ask how they know which cars to boot.
Hey, see that van right there? The cameras take pictures of your plate. Whenever time we just drive by and take a picture. Now 4 hours later, we comes back on the same route that we rode, and it's going to pick it up that plate was here 4 hours ago, regardless if he left or not.
When we explored it further, it didn't seem to matter what ticketed driver said or did.
The only way I can tell you to do is take it to court.
You think you're going to win that in court?
You won't.
You won't win it in court? How come?
Because I know.
Why is this parking enforcement officer so sure you won't win?
I mean, I've been to court 50 times for that same thing.
But that seems
nobody
unfair.
wins. I mean, we don't make the rules, we just break them.
You heard her right. She said break the rules. Maybe that's why Hoboken is able to boast on its own website parking utility revenues are at all-time highs. In 2010, officers wrote an additional 11,000 tickets more than the previous year. and the city made $1.3 million more in ticket revenue than projected. We wanted to find out firsthand what parking enforcement was like in Hoboken, so we grabbed a spot, parked for 10 minutes, and as soon as we got scanned and our 4-hour clock started ticking, we left town. We grabbed a tasty lunch in Edgewater, shopped the streets for a couple of hours, then we headed back to Hoboken and parked the car for less than 1 hour. Then with undercover cameras, we caught this.
We logged you in at 10:24 in the morning.
But we were here in Hoboken for 5 minutes. We were out of town. I even have receipts to prove it.
You will have to fight that in court.
Fight it in court. Look, it says I was in Edgewater, New Jersey, right here, almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been out of Hoboken the whole time.
You will have to fight it in court.
Parking is a huge challenge for the city of Hoboken. When we have over 16,000 residents that have permits, and there's only 10,000 parking spaces on the city streets. So
we sat down with Hoboken's mayor, Dawn Zimmer, to try and get some answers.
If you're driving into a city, you're going to rely on the street signs, aren't you?
Right, and the signage should be clear.
People who imply that the city of Hoboken is purposely making these signs nebulous and unclear so that the city can enforce these laws and make money off of it. I mean, as mayor, is that what you're doing?
No, absolutely not. I mean, we want to, again, we welcome people to Hoboken, and our signage that we have put up, is well beyond state standards.
Is there anything that you can do to make these signs more clear?
Well, we're certainly going to we always look at the feedback that we receive from residents, and we will look and see whether whether there are changes that we need to, to make to the signage.
In the meantime, watch where you park in Hoboken.
Mayor Zimmer stressed that stepped-up parking enforcement has increased public safety, and she tells us the city will reassess the signage to see if it needs to be more clear. Meanwhile, if you have any stories you want to share about parking in Hoboken or any other investigative tips, you can reach us at 1-877-TEL-FOX-5. Ernie and Derry?
Okay, so Joel, you got the boot. The women got the boot. Do people always, on a first-time offense, get the boot?
You know what? Everybody we met on the first offense did, in fact, get the boot this time around while we were out there. And not only that, Ernie and Derry, but you have to take your own boot off. It weighs 16 pounds. Yeah. You have to take it to the municipal parking garage. If you're on the other side of town, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And once you get there, guess what? There are hardly any parking spots. So, yep.
Set it in your story. It's a no-win situation.
Absolutely.
I know. Thank you, Joel.
You're welcome.
We'll be right back.